Hopefully everyone's familiar with HootSuite. If we have any new people in the room, what you're looking at is HootSuite. We're going to stay within the tool today. Everything that I'm doing with you today, you'll be able to do within your own account. I am within Kai's account at the moment. However, all of these actions I will take, you'll be able to do within your individual accounts. I'll just mention this now that each account within HootSuite is extremely different. So if you make a change within your account, it's not going to change one of your colleagues' accounts. Everything is set up for an individual user. And we want your account set up in a way which makes your day-to-day kind of social actions just more efficient for you. Okay. So on the left hand side, you can see this is where your major navigation lives. So we have all of the streams, the analytics, the publisher, and then we have your settings and some tools and help, which I will discuss before the end of this call. First of all, I'd like to focus a little bit on the streams. The streams, this area is really the heart of HootSuite. It's the mission control, if you like. It's where all of your messages arrive into HootSuite. And it's where we can send out all of our messages to all of our different social networks. Okay. First of all, I'll focus on the incoming messages. So up top, these are what we call tabs. Sorry. Within a tab, we have a number of different streams. So we can have up to 20 different tabs, and within one tab we can have up to 10 different streams. So that's a potential to have 200 streams working simultaneously, bringing in search results, your mentions from Twitter, your Facebook pages, all of this information coming in. Okay. To create a new tab, it's extremely simple. We just click on the small plus here, and we can create a new tab. Okay. Once we've done that, what we're faced with is something that I call the Stream Builder. I'm not too sure if that's its official name, but that's what it does. It's really the area that we can start to build up our different streams, these different building blocks associated with our social networks. So we have a small drop-down menu here. And within here, we can see the social networks that Kai is managing. I mentioned before that each account is different. So if you're managing only the ESCC Twitter account, you'll only see this one account. Okay, you'll only see the social networks that you need to manage. Okay, so we want to make sure that nothing is convoluted. Everything is as streamlined as possible for you within HootSuite. So all we do is select the social network we would like the stream to be associated with. So if I select a Twitter account, for example, we can see that the building blocks are mentions, retweets. Okay, these are things which are Twitter specific. If I select something like a Facebook page, we can see those blocks change. We have wall posts, we have our private messages. Okay, so if I take a look at Twitter and I wanted our Twitter mentions for the ESCC scrutiny Twitter page, basically one click and we have that stream in place. If I wanted the retweet, all I would do is click once on the retweet and we have the stream there for you to view. Okay, we can also within a tab add multiple different social networks. We can add a Facebook wall posts. Okay, these are really here for you to build out tabs which are relevant for you. Okay, if you wanted a quick overview of what's happening on Twitter, it might be just every mentions for each Twitter account. Okay, it could be something like this, and we can call this tab all mentions, TW for Twitter. Okay, so you can build these tabs whether they be extremely granular in information, so ESCC main Twitter as Kai is set up here for himself, or it might be an overview tab of all mentions across our social assets. Okay, you can see that the Stream Builder has minimized here, so we just click on the plus to open that back up. Okay, is there any questions so far?
Not for me, no.
Okay.
Not at the moment, thank you.
Okay.
Is there any difference? Is there any difference in using the add a stream, the green bar, at the top of the
Yep.
stream builder.
So there's no difference. I demo this way because it's easier. I find it much more visual, and everything is set out in a more logical way for me. Whereas this is a historical feature. Okay, this is our new feature of adding streams. I find it much easier. However, you do have the option to add a stream from this area here, selecting your social network and selecting the stream. Okay, for me, however, this area is much more aesthetically pleasing, I guess, and much more easier to have an overview of what's happening and what streams you want to add. But to answer your question, there's zero difference.
Thank you.
Okay. So if we move on to kind of more advanced searching, so if we're looking at keywords, so I'm just going to delete all of those, and we're going to add some searches. So what we can add are pretty sophisticated Twitter searches. So if we look for something like East Sussex County Council, and we search something like this. Okay, what we're telling Twitter to search for is East and Sussex and County and Council. Okay, we're telling it to look for those different 4 words in no particular order. Okay, if we want to add a specific phrase, we'd put quotations around here. Okay, so if we're looking for a specific phrase, we'd need to put quotations around it. The difference between these two streams are Twitter is picking up any of these keywords in any order within a tweet. East Sussex County Council, you'll probably get pretty much the same results. Okay, but you can see that there is slightly different results here. Just delete this one for the time being. One thing I mentioned is that we look for the text and we also look within the link. Okay, so if we're looking for Sussex, for example, we will also look in the link as well as the text. Okay. Also, we'll look in the original link. If it's a shortened link, such as bit.ly, we'll look in the original long link as well. Okay, so these Twitter searches are extremely powerful. We are looking at all global tweets within the last 7 days which match our query. Okay, once you've created these queries, and I kind of build up these searches in iterations. So I first spread my net quite wide, so we're looking at Sussex. Okay, and then what we can do is then add other keywords to find out, to really kind of gain more granular results into what we're actually looking for. So if I look at the drop-down menu here into preferences, this is where we can keep adding things to our search queries. So we can add an and statement here. Okay, so if I wanted to look for a specific if we were looking for parks, for example, people who are looking for Sussex and parks, so talking around that, we can find these tweets. Okay, I can also see there's a lot of retweets here. It's awfully messy because a lot of people are retweeting one specific tweet. So what I want to do is just reduce that noise a little bit and just put a -RT there. Save changes. Okay, so now we have only these original tweets of people talking about Sussex and park. Okay, we can do a lot of different things within these advanced Twitter searches, and I could speak with you for an awful long time about all of the things that we can do. We do have a list, however, to give you a little bit of an overview of all of the different queries that we can put together, and all of these can be added to one query, so there's no limitation to how long these queries can be. Okay, so we can look for 2 different words. Okay, in this example, it just shows you a space, so Twitter space search. Okay, what I normally do is add the capital "and" in here. It's just basically for me, when I come back to HootSuite a week after, I get a better idea of what I've searched for. Okay, so adding the "and" or leaving a space gives you exactly the same results. We can also see the quotation marks around here. Okay, we can see the or statement. So if we're looking at Sussex or quotation East Sussex, okay, we'll leave that. We'll keep minus RT in there. Save changes. Okay, so we're looking at either of these different keywords. Okay. Looking back to show examples here, we can take a look at minus. Okay, so we saw the example of minus RT here. We can add a minus in front of anything just to take away any tweets which have that keyword in them. Just take them away. Okay. We can also look for hashtags. So any of those campaign hashtags that you're looking for, those local hashtags that people are contributing to. We can follow those, try to keep our kind of finger on the pulse. We can look at to and from a specific person, okay, or user. So this is a great way. A lot of my other clients, you may not be in the same position, but a lot of our other clients are looking at competitors using this, okay? So from competitor 1, 2, and 3. For you, it might be looking at from different partners in the local community. So some other governments are looking for, what is our fire department saying? What are our police networks saying? What are our other local authorities saying? So we could set up a partner tab looking at all of these different tweets from those users, okay? One, it just lets you keep that finger on the pulse. It also might give you some inspiration on what subjects they're talking around, okay? Another great one, which I'll show you, is looking at from, and then something like BBC News. Okay, so if we save that, we're looking at everything that BBC News is sending out. Okay, and you may have a local news source that you want to do this with, but then have a look at preferences and East Sussex. Okay, so looking at this, we can see all of the tweets which are being sent out from BBC News. Okay, which have East Sussex in there. Okay, so this could be, you could be looking for Sky News, BBC News, and some of these may have no results. But the beauty of this is it will refresh, and once you do get a result, you'll be able to see that article straight away. So you can kind of keep on what's happening in your local area on a national scale or a local scale within the press as well.
How often does it refresh?
So it will refresh. So we do have what we call a Firehose API connection with Twitter, which basically means that we can pull information back and forth from Twitter as many times as we want. So it is pretty much instant.
Right.
So we will get that in as soon as it's posted onto Twitter. However, do take into consideration that we are pulling it from Twitter, so it's not going to be absolutely instant. It will take that, either 60 seconds or something to pull from there, but there's no major time delay.
And that one that it's found was January 31st. How far does it go back?
So these searches go back 7 days. Okay. Wonderful. We do have a Twitter archiving system as well, which I'll be happy to show you, where we can save tweets we can archive them, so we can save them and have a history of what's happening around either a search term, a hashtag, and then you're able to download that as a CSV. So I'll show you that at a later stage during this demo. Okay. I'm just noting this down so I don't forget to show you. Okay, cool. If we just keep going through some of these. So we looked at to and from, looking at referencing a certain person between a certain time dates, positive, negative attitudes, questions, and then filter by links. We can also filter by images. So if we look at East Sussex, and then we filter by images, what this is going to give us is all of the images which are being posted around the area. So it's either a TwitPic, a pic.twitter, or anything like this. We can see that all of the media that people are sending out. So we could have one stream for images, another one for filter by links. Okay, so we can see all of the different media types, okay, links or images that people are sharing with a certain keyword, such as your local area. Okay. Is there any questions around these advanced searches? Anything you kind of want me to bring up?
I think that's fine. I've got a question about hashtags and hashtags tracking, but if we're going to go on to analyticals, I presume at some point that might come up better there.
Yeah, we will certainly talk about how we can track the volume of hashtags being sent on a daily period within the analytics. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, obviously, within the search streams, you can get a good idea of all of the hashtags which are being sent out.
Yeah.
As well here. Also, adding multiple hashtags. Okay, so if you want multiple hashtags within one stream, you can do that using the OR functionality there.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, everything is drag and drop. Okay, as you'll be aware, everything is customizable for you. So you can really change all of these around to how you want to work on a daily basis within HootSuite. Okay. One of the other things I'd like to show you is some of our quick filters. Okay, so if we look at ESCC filter by images, or we just reduce this to get some more results, we'll just look at ESCC, for example. Okay, what we want to do is potentially find people who are talking about a certain topic, in this case ESCC, and are influential online. What we do, we integrate with a third-party algorithm called Clout. Okay, and Clout score people from 0 to 100 based on their influence online. It takes into consideration things like if I send a tweet, how many times does it get retweeted? When I send a Facebook post, how many likes do I receive? How many shares does that receive? What's my community like? What's my ratio between followers and following? It takes into consideration all of these aspects of my kind of social life, and it gives me a score from 1 to 100. So we can assume that someone like Barack Obama is in the high 90s. Okay, someone like me is around 40, 50. Okay. What I personally would judge as a good Clout score for an individual, not a brand, but for an individual, is between 45 and 60. We can kind of assume that they're active on social media and they have a pretty decent following around certain subjects. So we can just slide this along to 43, and all we're taking away anybody with 42 or below Clout score. Okay, so what we found here with this search result is everybody who's talking about East Sussex and has a Clout score of 43 or above. Okay, so we can take a look down and take a look at what people are saying. This is great for campaigns or people talking about a campaign hashtag. We can kind of assume that if they're sharing information, more people are going to see that. Okay, so we might want to take into consideration this for prioritizing certain tweets or for saving contacts. So if we have someone talking around a certain topic, we may want to reach out to them and send them more information. Okay, we can then potentially assume that they're going to share that with their audience, and then more people are going to see that. So getting this kind of viral reach from our community. Okay, one of the things which often happens within social is that we find these people, and then a week after they're lost. We can't find that tweet again. So what I recommend to a lot of my clients is creating Twitter lists. Okay, so if we take a look here, we can see that we already have a Twitter list, which is excellent. Okay, we can create a new one easily. So if we wanted to create a new one, we can click Create New, and we could add a name, East Sussex Influencers. Okay, so we can see these are all of the people who are talking about East Sussex who are influential online. We can either make this public or private. Okay, private lists, nobody else can see them. Okay, so we can start adding people, but nobody will realize. Okay, it's kind of like keeping a contact book. Okay, so if I add one of our lists, just for an example, We can imagine this is East Sussex influencers. It's extremely easy for us to start to populate this list. All we do is drag and drop these people from one stream into the list. So it's very easy for us to start to get to know more our communities. Okay. Another example of this is people who are potentially sending negative, neutral, or positive tweets. Okay, we might want to start to categorize these people. So when we come back to something like this a month later, we haven't lost these names. It's not a matter of, oh, what was that guy who was kept on sending really positive tweets? Okay, we have him within a contact area. Okay, we can see that contact area on the left hand side within contacts here. And if I just highlight this, okay, we can see all of these different lists. Okay. We can just click on that list and we can see all of those people again. Okay, so they're never lost, they're always here. Okay. Cool. Okay, is there any kind of final questions regarding these search streams?
No, that's fine.
Cool. Does that kind of that clout score filtering in those Twitter lists, is that something that you potentially want to look into more in the future?
I think we'll investigate it. Certainly, I think we'll have a play later today. Try and set a few searches and lists up. Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, excellent. And then once you've got these lists, anybody who has access to the Twitter account can add them. So they can be quite collaborative across your team. So it's not just the onus on one person to populate this. It could be over a stretch of time with the whole team contributing to populating these lists. So it's a great way to do it.